India does not have a single, unified social security system like the US or many European countries. Instead, it has a set of social security and welfare schemes, mostly targeted toward workers in the organized sector, the poor, and vulnerable groups. Here's an overview. For workers in the organized sector, Employees Provident Fund, EPF, a retirement savings scheme where both employer and employee contribute. Employees Pension Scheme, EPS, provides pensions to workers in the organized sector after retirement. Employees State Insurance, ESI, offers medical, disability, maternity, and unemployment benefits. For the poor and vulnerable, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, PMJD, financial inclusion scheme offering no-frills bank accounts, insurance, and pension. Pradhan Mantri Jivan Jyoti Bima Yojana, PMJJY, life insurance at low premium. Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana, PMSBY, accident insurance at low premium. Atal Pension Yojana, APY, pension scheme for unorganized sector workers. Other welfare programs, National Social Assistance Program, NSAP, includes pensions for the elderly, widows, and disabled persons living below the poverty line. MGNREGA, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, provides guaranteed 100 days of wage employment to rural households. So yes, India has social security in the form of multiple schemes, but it's fragmented and targeted rather than a universal system. Great question. Let's compare India's social security system versus the US social security system so you can see the similarities and differences clearly. Structure. United States, a single centralized system called Social Security, run by the Social Security Administration. Covers retirement, disability, survivors benefits, and Medicare, healthcare for elderly. Funded mainly by payroll taxes. India, no single system. Social Security is fragmented across multiple schemes run by different ministries and state governments. Benefits differ based on whether you are in the organized sector, formal employment, or unorganized sector, informal work, which is the majority. Coverage. United States. Almost universal for citizens and legal residents who work and pay payroll taxes. Even unemployed, disabled, and retired individuals receive benefits if they qualify. India. Partial coverage. Organized sector workers, less than 20% of workforce, get retirement, pension, and medical benefits. Unorganized sector workers rely on small, government-backed schemes like Atal Pension Yojana, PMJJBY, PMSBY. Many poor households benefit from welfare programs, MGNREGA, food subsidies, pensions under NSAP. Benefits. United States monthly retirement income, based on lifetime contributions. Disability income if unable to work. Survivor benefits for family members, Medicare healthcare at 65 plus. India, Provident Fund savings, like a retirement fund but lump sum. Small pensions for unorganized workers in poor households. Health insurance for some workers, ESI, Ayushman Bharat for poor families. Targeted subsidies, food, fuel, rural jobs. Funding. United States, funded through Federal Insurance Contributions Act, FICA, payroll tax, 12.4% for Social Security, 2.9% for Medicare, split between employer and employee. India, mix of employer-employee contributions, EPF, ESI, and government-funded welfare schemes. Many programs, like pensions for poor elderly, are directly funded by tax revenues, not worker contributions. Challenges. United States aging population. More retirees than workers paying into the system. Projected funding gaps in future decades. India, low coverage. Most of the workforce is in the informal, unorganized sector and not enrolled in schemes. Benefits are often small and fragmented, not enough for full financial security. Summary. The US has a unified, universal, and contribution-based social security system. India has a fragmented, partially contribution-based and partially welfare-based system, with limited coverage and smaller benefits. Yes. Unfortunately, despite many welfare schemes, poor and vulnerable populations in India are often neglected in practice. Here are some concrete examples. Limited pension and benefits. Under the National Social Assistance Program, NSAP, poor elderly widows and disabled persons may get a pension. But the amount is very low, sometimes only Rs 200-500 per month, about $2.06 USD. This is not enough to cover even basic needs like food or medicine. Exclusion due to documentation. Many welfare schemes require Aadhaar, national ID, ration card, or bank account. Poor families, especially in rural and tribal areas, often lack proper documentation. This means they get excluded from pensions, food rations, or insurance, even if they are eligible. Rural Job Guarantee (MGNREGA) issues. MGNREGA promises 100 days of work for rural households. In reality, workers often get much fewer days, sometimes only 30-40. Payments are delayed for months and wages are very low, Rs 200 and 250 day, below minimum living wages. Health security gaps. India has Ayushman Bharat, a health insurance scheme for the poor. But many hospitals, especially private ones, refuse to accept it because reimbursement rates are low. Poor families often end up paying out of pocket, which can push them further into debt. Urban poor and informal workers. Migrant workers, daily wage laborers, and domestic workers often fall through the cracks. They are not covered by Provident Fund or state insurance. During COVID-19 lockdowns, millions lost jobs and had no income support, highlighting how vulnerable they are. Uneven distribution. Corruption, middlemen, and leakages in welfare delivery mean benefits often don't reach the poorest. For example, subsidized food rations sometimes get diverted to the black market. Local officials may favor politically connected households. In short, India has many good policies on paper, but in practice, the poor often get neglected due to tiny benefit amounts, lack of access, corruption, and poor implementation. Elderly on tiny pensions. In many states, poor elderly people get just Rs 200 500 month, $2.06, as a pension under NSAP. Example. In rural Bihar, newspapers reported elderly widows who had to choose between buying food or medicine because the pension money barely covered a few kilos of rice. Often payments are delayed for months, leaving them completely dependent on family or charity. Migrant workers during COVID-19, 2020. When the nationwide lockdown was announced, millions of migrant workers in cities like Delhi and Mumbai suddenly lost jobs. With no savings, no health coverage, and no unemployment benefits, many had to walk hundreds of kilometers back to their villages. Government relief, like free rations, often did not reach them because they lacked ration cards linked to their current city of residence. Farmers in debt. Many small farmers are excluded from crop insurance schemes because of paperwork or lack of awareness. In drought-hit Maharashtra, reports showed farmers committing suicide due to crop failure and mounting loans, as compensation either came too late or never arrived. This reflects the failure of rural social security nets. MGNREGA, workers underpaid. In Uttar Pradesh, villagers entitled to 100 days of work under MGNREGA often got only 20-30 days. Payments were delayed by 3-6 months, forcing them to borrow money at high interest rates. Some workers even found their names missing from job lists due to corruption or political favoritism. Health insurance gaps. Under Ayushman Bharat, PMJ, poor families are supposed to get free treatment up to Rs 5 lakh a year. But in Madhya Pradesh, patients reported private hospitals denying admission or demanding cash up front, saying reimbursements from the government were too low or delayed. Poor patients often ended up selling jewelry or taking loans to pay for emergency surgeries. Urban poor left out. Daily wage earners like rickshaw pullers, street vendors, and domestic workers often lack official IDs or formal contracts. Without ration cards or proper proof of residence, they are excluded from subsidized food and pensions. Example. In Delhi's slums, families reported during COVID that they survived only because of local NGOs distributing food, not government schemes. In summary, these stories show that while India has welfare schemes on paper, the poor often slip through the cracks due to low benefits, bureaucratic hurdles, corruption, and lack of portability.